Michelle Wright.
I'm Michelle Wright, mother of one of the three African-American boys from Timbercrest who was involved in the racial harassment and death threat situation. I'm also the mother of a Woodinville High School graduating senior this year. Sadly, her graduation has been very overshadowed by this unfortunate situation with her brother, but she's excited to graduate. I too am grateful for the board's willingness to address these issues of racial equity and diversity, and look forward to a good discussion to come later this evening. I also appreciate the action plan that has been proposed and want to express my personal desire to work with the board and be a part of the solution as you work to bring much needed changes in these areas. The board and superintendent responses, while seemingly genuine, do need to be followed up with action and movement in the right direction. Please, number one, adopt the plan of action dated June 1st, 2015, as presented by the superintendent, and plan to fully implement that by the time school begins in the fall. Supplement that plan of action by creating an independent equity board that reports directly to the school board to deal with issues related to racial equity and diversity. Immediately, conduct a qualified threat assessment to determine the current situation at Timbercrest and whether any current threat continues to exist. Provide a report by the July 14th board meeting that addresses what has been learned, to re-emphasize what Carrie just did. That's one of the things that's most important to us as families, is the comment was made at the last board meeting. Mistakes get made. We all make mistakes. It's what we do next with those mistakes that's most important. And so we would like to hear acknowledgement of those mistakes. What did go wrong, what should be done differently, and more importantly, what will be done differently in the future to ensure our children's safety. I thank you very much for your time and for your consideration of these matters. I look forward to hearing from you what I can do to help you in the future with this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michelle. Cindy Franco.
Hello, my name is Cindy Franco. I am a mom volunteer at Crystal Springs Elementary. So do they. And we're here because they want us to move us to Franklin Elementary. We are against that because most of us don't drive. We walk to school, and with driving and going to Franklin, it's a long walk that won't let us, all of us, walk all the way to take our kids to school, and just in case of an emergency. And we are all volunteers, and we already made a relationship with the school personnel, the teachers. Going to Franklin is like starting all over again. And on top of that, Franklin doesn't provide many programs one of those is Natural Leaders. That's what made us volunteer at Crystal Springs. Thank you.
I have a question. Can I clarify? I have a question. Do all of you live in the same neighborhood, or are you in different areas around Crystal Springs?
Same neighborhood.
Can you tell me what neighborhood that is? Does it have a name or the location?
It's in Winesap Road. We live at the area where the mobile homes are, Thunderbirds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Natalie Jimenez, thank you.
Buenas tardes, señoras y señores del distrito. Mi nombre es Natalie Jiménez.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Natalie Jiménez.
Soy mamá de 4 hijos, 3 de mis hijos están en Crystal Spring. Soy natural líder de la misma.
I am a mother of 4 3 of them go to Crystal Spring, and I'm also a natural leader for that school.
Y estoy envuelta en todo lo relacionado con la educación de mis hijos.
I'm also very involved when it comes to my children's education.
Inicialmente, cuando se habló en marzo sobre cambios del 2016 y 2017,
Especially when I heard about the changes that were going to take place starting March 2016 and 17.
nuestra zona donde vivimos se incluyó para continuar asistiendo a Crystal Spring, Skyview y North Creek.
The currently area where we reside ended up falling into the district of Crystal Springs, Skyview, and North Creek.
Mi pregunta es, ¿por qué nuestra zona se trasladó o se cambió en el segundo cambio de límites?
We have a question for y'all. I do want to find out why did that area or region ended up being part of the new change?
No sé.
This is a time for us to hear from you. But after your comments, Leanna Albrecht would be happy to talk with you in dialogue.
Ok. Tengo otra segunda pregunta.
We have a second question for you.
Si existe el cambio de Frank Locke, ¿qué es lo que quieren hacer? Actualmente tiene el personal de ESL y título 1 de matemáticas. ¿Tiene actualmente maestros que den ESL y el título 1 de matemáticas?
So it sounds like there's going to be a change when it comes to Frank Love. The question that she does have for you guys is the following. Do you currently have the personnel that is going to be teaching ESL? ESL and also math, and if you do so, she would like to find out.
Porque la mayoría de nuestros hijos son hispanos y lo necesitan.
Reason why is the majority of the students that currently attend that school are Spanish speakers, so therefore there's going to be a need for ESL.
Muchas gracias.
And thank you very much.
Excuse me, I have a question. Are you receiving math instruction in Spanish?
¿Los niños?
Children? Are they receiving mathematics in Spanish? Thank you.
I have a question, sorry, clarifying again. So you're part of the Crystal Springs group that's going to Frank Love? Or was it?
Thank you.
Gracias. Yohani Benitez?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Joanny Benítez y
Good afternoon, my name is Joanny Benitez.
tengo una preocupación sobre este cambio que se va a hacer mediante.
I do have a concern when it comes to the new change that is going to take place.
De Crystal Spring a Frank Love. Y tengo una pregunta.
When it comes to the switch of Crystal Springs to Frank Love.
Y mi pregunta es, ¿habrá una persona del personal de Frank Love y las otras escuelas que tiene habilidades de interpretación y traducción para hacer un contacto de persona para la nueva población del habla hispana?
So when it comes to the switch or the change that it's going to take place, the question and the concern that Jenny has is the following. Do you guys will provide interpreters or somebody who is going to be contacting, in other words, talking to the Spanish-speaking population in the region. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, Shannon?
Just so you know, it does get better for us loud queers, even if that's a bit of a platitude. Take care.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to address you today, Superintendent Francois, directors, families, and friends. My name is Shannon Kelly Ray, and my family is a former North Shore School District family. I've been engaged as a subject matter expert on policy and process relative to diversity, inclusion, equity, and cultural competence, specifically to address recent challenges and opportunities associated with our rapidly growing and changing community. It's been an honor and privilege to have begun working closely with the district leadership and others to support your mission of providing a quality education in a welcoming and inclusive environment. Now, while there is much that we can do in building a robust cultural competence strategic framework, our work will depend heavily on the collaborative relationships that we build with students, families, staffs, and many other community stakeholders as well. So to that end, I wanted to make sure that we manage the expectations of all interested parties. I know that there have been and will be a lot of recommendations to the board. However, I strongly caution placing timelines on that work because it is a collective process. Institutional systemic change doesn't happen quickly, and the plan's implementation will require bringing a lot of parties to the table and hearing many different voices. I know that the plan that was announced by Mr. Francois may have been inspired by actions at one school. The implications of our work will impact all school staff, family, and municipalities. And I wanted to also caution that equity advisory boards come about as a result of a process. They are mission-driven and function with purpose. They are representative bodies of the entirety of their system, meaning all of the schools, all of the many communities that feed those schools, and many different families and other stakeholders. So they are also seated in an advisory capacity with recommendations to the boards, but those recommendations are often and generally non-binding. So I say all of that to say that I'm pleased by the fact that when I took my first meeting with the superintendent and the deputy superintendent and members of the board, some of you seated today, I was very happy by the fact that you were frank, forthcoming, and completely open to counsel. I look forward to continuing work with you as we engage all of the community, because one deliberate and intentional step is what would be required at this time. We have to move together expediently, but also with deliberate intention. So that will take time. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Jody Howerton?
I concede my time.
Kathleen Hamer?
And I will concede my time as well.
Ken Smith?
Ken Smith. Quick thank you to the staff who responded to some of the questions that I asked about financial information. The documents that were available already in the staff were provided by Friday after the Tuesday meeting. And I wanted to say thank you for the prompt and timely response to that and the transparency. Thank you for that. We'll have other questions, but just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you, Ken. Corinne Patton?
Hi, my name's Corinne Patton. I was in the middle of writing out my comments today when I received a call from my daughter's junior high about a harassment for the third time with the same boy, and so now we're dealing with that. But it kind of ties into what I wanted to say, and we're talking about equity and threat assessment, and some of you may know that I have an older daughter who has dealt with anxiety disorder, and so we switched her around to SAS, and now she's doing online school and she's doing better. But through the process, it was really a lot harder than it needed to be. And I think a lot of that is because there's not a lot of training about these sort of disorders, about depression and anxiety, and these things are happening, and they're happening in junior high, and they're happening in high school. And so with that, and with the harassment that my younger daughter is dealing with, sexual harassment basically in 7th grade, I would just like to ask that as you're dealing with the equity and with the threat assessment, that we don't just include race, that we include everything else that might come up. Because if we just deal with the race issue right now, then I can tell you down the road, there's going to be more readings like this with the different issues, and we're going to have to go back at it again. That is all, and I would also like to add what some of the other speakers have said, which is I will do whatever I can to work with the board and with the district. I'll be working with the junior high to help in any way that I can as a parent and a community member.
I have a clarifying question. Was it your husband that came and spoke at the last meeting? I'm just trying to see if this is the same student that was, and does she go to Canyon Park Junior High?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that does conclude the community comments. Thank you all very much for participating. If you came just to speak and would like to not stay for the rest of the meeting, you are more than welcome to leave right now. If you are here to get answers, Leanna, where are you? Leanna is over here, and she will meet with you out in the foyer.